All right, we can move on to the 49ers against Tampa Bay. And I'm going to have a full scouting report of the Buccaneers within the context of their matchup with the 49ers coming a little bit later today. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Be ready for that. I'm working on it as we speak. But, just a reset button. And we like to press the reset buttons on Tuesday. It's known as Laundry Day across the NFL because it's the one day where you kind of have a chance to take a breath, collect yourself, get ready for the next week after unpacking the game before. I just have to say that the 49ers, obviously, they rediscovered their winning identity after a 3-game losing streak. But I believe that they've doubled down on their winning identity this season. And obviously, an identity is not something that I think you just develop over 1 year. This is a whole program wide thing, and it's something that the 49ers have been trying to build ever since Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch took over in 2017. I believe that this season, the 49ers have been able to take what they had established as a successful identity already in going to 3 of the past 4 NFC championships and the Super Bowl at the end of the 2019 season. They made it able to take that identity, which stretches and manifests itself in different ways in all 3 phases of the game, plus into the team's culture, and they've doubled down on that identity. On offense, the 49ers have based the identity on successful, efficient quarterback play based around a positive, balanced offense, right? So by balance, I mean they're able to run and they're able to pass and they're not too heavy in any singular direction. I think one area where the Buffalo Bills, even though they've been really efficient offensively, one area where they've left themselves potentially vulnerable, and those vulnerabilities have reared their ugly head over the course of the past several weeks. They just fired Ken Dorsey, former 49ers quarterback, their offensive coordinator today. You can argue about whether or not that was justified or warranted, but Buffalo has overexposed themselves to the pass game. They haven't run the football. They haven't established the real kind of balance that could lead to offensive stability. The 49ers, meanwhile, have the number 1 rusher in football, Christian McCaffrey, leading the way by over 100 yards with 747 yards. And they have the top-rated passer in football in Brock Purdy. In fact, Brock Purdy is delivering MVP-level efficiency. Here you have him at the very top of the efficiency chart. Vertical axis is EPA per play. Head and shoulders above everybody else. If you want to see this in numerical format, look how far ahead Brock Purdy is of everybody else in EPA per play. He's 0.337 per play. It's a third of a point that he's generating over average per play. Per drop back. So not even per play because the 49ers are also running the ball effectively. But Prescott, Mahomes, Josh Allen, who's dropped a bit, Tagovailoa, Hurts, Stroud, who's having a great year in a 49ers-like system under Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator who was designing plays for the 49ers last year. Brock Purdy is way ahead of all of those guys. And Christian McCaffrey is way ahead of all of his competitors as far as running backs aiming for the NFL rushing title. So the 49ers have doubled down on the offensive half of their winning identity, which is balanced offense around efficient quarterback play. And it's something they were already doing before, right? Jimmy Garoppolo was a really good quarterback for this football team. When you lost you guys for a second, but I want to put this back up on the screen we cut out there. I'm going to share this one more time. My main point was that Jimmy Garoppolo obviously was a really, really good quarterback for this football team, to the point where when you looked at the efficiency numbers right here, he was in the upper right as well, but he was never at the very top, right? Jimmy Garoppolo would be in the top 5 efficiency wise, and the 49ers would have a nice run game with him as well, but they would never be at the very top. Purdy has taken that to another level thanks to the fact that he's avoided turnovers better than Garoppolo. I think that he has thrown downfield better than Garoppolo, and I think probably most importantly, he's been a more mobile version of Jimmy Garoppolo. He's been able to extend some plays, develop some off-script stuff when the 49ers have really benefited from it. So in that way, they already had the identity of efficient quarterback play around a balanced offense, but Purdy has helped the 49ers take it to the next level. On the defensive side of the football, the 49ers are doing this. They're stopping the run, and now the fun is truly starting. Now, a few days ago, I was saying they weren't stopping the run, but I think we saw the turnaround against Jacksonville. Now it's something they're going to have to perpetuate. Fortunately for them, it shouldn't be difficult to perpetuate it against Tampa Bay, who is not good at running the football. This is maybe the worst running offense in the league. But if the 49ers can continue to stop the run, they're going to find themselves in situations like this, which is what their defensive identity is all about. Look at this alignment. The alignment is what's important because it is obviously completion. It's not a big gain. It's into the kill zone. But this is what the 49ers defense is striving for. That's Bosa and that's Chase Young. They're standing up in a pass rushing situation over the guard and center, over the interior line. These are defensive linemen on the inside. You can only line up like this with lighter defensive linemen instead of defensive tackles on the inside if you've stopped the run and the run is not a threat. So complementary football, right? Build a lead, dissuade the opponent from running the football, put them in pass obvious situations, and then you have the fun where Nick Bosa and Chase Young can align on the inside and terrorize guards and centers. That is the key for the 49ers. Right now, if there's one weakness to this football team as far as their statistical profile so far, it's that they haven't forced enough third down and longs. There's actually a really good graphic that shows how good the Cleveland Browns defense has been in this regard that I'm going to show with you right now because it's where the 49ers need to get better. All right, here we go. Going to share this with you promptly. How about this? So this is third and longs forced on the x-axis and third and long conversion rate allowed on the y-axis. So you want to be higher up and further to the right. Look how many third and longs the Cleveland Browns have forced. They've been so damn good on first and second down defensively. They're so head and shoulders, right, to the right to the rest of the league. I don't want to say above because they're actually not forcing teams off the field as much as you'd think on third and long, but they're forcing so many of the third and longs that they are successful in the long run on them. The 49ers are way over here on the left where you don't want to be. They're forcing third and long less than 20% of the time. The Browns are forcing third and long nearly 40% of the time, well over 34% of the time. That's a major, major difference. You can see just how big the gap is between Cleveland and the rest of the league. So the 49ers stopped the run against Jacksonville, and the goal of stopping the run was to force a lot of second and tens, which naturally lead to third and longs. But I talked to Javon Kinlaw. He said second and 10 was the mantra of the week for the 49ers. If the 49ers continue doing a good job against the run game, which they hadn't done leading up until this week, but if they continue doing that, expect their logo to move further and further to the right as this season progresses. And if the 49ers can end up somewhere here, I'm not asking them to be where the Browns are. The Browns are obviously a special defense this year. But if the 49ers can end up somewhere here, well, then they're going to turn into a team that has a tier unto itself as far as balance between offense and defense and is separated from everybody else. The 49ers are already a tier one team, despite the fact that the defense hasn't been great. But the model that the 49ers need to try to extrapolate now over the rest of the season, we saw in Jacksonville. If the defense can do that, they held Jacksonville to 3-point-something yards per carry. They dissuaded Jacksonville from running with the five-man fronts. They can do that. Well, then we're going to see a whole lot of this. This is the kind of alignment you can use on third and long. I'm not sure if this was on a third and long, but you could definitely use it on a third and long. And, you know, Trevor Lawrence can't wait to get rid of this football. He sees Bosa and he sees Chase Young working the middle of the field. Well, yeah, of course you're going to want to just get rid of the ball. If you get rid of the ball here, that's exactly where the 49ers want it to go. It's called the kill zone. The kill zone is where Talanoa Hufanga, Fred Warner, everybody can rally around and make the tackle, and it leads to an inefficient gain. So Yes, there's no sack on the play. I get it, but it's an inefficient gain. And if you're forcing inefficient gains, what's going to happen, and it happened plenty of times in this football game, Trevor Lawrence is going to think twice about passing because he knows that passing is a waste of time if the 49ers are just going to rally around and tackle the football. And if he thinks twice about passing, he's going to hitch one more time right here. And if he hitches one more time right here, look where the pass rushers already are. Chase Young is already around Walker Little. Nick Bosa is going to seal the pocket from the other side. Trevor Lawrence would have been in trouble had he hitched an extra time. And the 49ers coverage, the fact that that throw was forced into the kill zone, their coverage essentially encouraged Trevor Lawrence to hitch another time. And over the course of the game, he did. And they sacked him 5 times. So the defense doubling down on that identity. That's great for the 49ers. And so is the offense with what Purdy is doing and what the run game is doing. On top of all of that, the 49ers are also doubling down on their identity of having fun. I think this is really key. I think this separates them from the rest of the NFL. It's a league of mercenaries. We know that. We know this is the pros. People are paid to play this football game. But when we see the 49ers coming out of the locker room to the boombox, when we see Chase Young, the new addition, joining them at the forefront of that march out of the locker room, and then when we hear Chase Young talking about how he's never experienced anything like this before in his career, and then when we hear other guys like Trent Williams saying that the 49ers have given him a career renaissance and he's 35 years old right now, then when we see guys like Brock Purdy and Trent Williams celebrating side by side, one of them is a 35-year-old vet who's going to be headed to the Hall of Fame. The other one is a 23-year-old rookie who started off statistically better than any other quarterback in NFL history. When we see that side by side, we say, okay, 49ers have something special brewing. And this is something they've tried to build ever since Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch arrived in 2017. They've tried to build a culture of success, a special culture where players are enthused to deliver for each other. It doesn't make sense to people who troll on the internet because they're not winners, right? That these people don't understand the mentality of winning as a group. And in life, when, men band together and try to pursue a collective cause instead of just individual glory, which obviously isn't congruent with a fantasy football narrative or a stupid Twitter stats narrative, when that happens in life, and you successfully are able to orchestrate the cohesion in between men to make that happen, special things can happen on the football field. And we're getting so many visual representations of that from the 49ers. And we have gotten them over the years, and they've been very successful. Again, 3 NFC championship games in 4 years. Not a lot of teams are doing that. But now the 49ers want to take it that extra level. So they've doubled down on the identity, I think, of fun, enjoyment, love for the football game between players of different ages, right? Trent Williams, again, that's a 35-year-old up on the screen and a 23-year-old up on the screen celebrating after one of the 49ers touchdowns. So I think that you really have to sit and appreciate the human aspect of what's going on to bring this team together. And again, that's a doubling down on identity. So is the fact that Brock Purdy is delivering MVP level efficiency, because that's what the 49ers, have needed to take the quarterback position, which was already performing well when Jimmy Garoppolo was healthy, but they've taken it to another level. And then obviously on defense, it took them a little while to bust out of the slump. They were the number 26 run defense through the first 8 games of the season, but they got back to stopping the run and having some fun in the game against Jacksonville. And this is what stopping the run and having some fun looks like. Fun looks like pass situations for opposing offenses. Nick Bosa and Chase Young lined up over the middle of the formation to terrorize them. That's a part of the chess match that the 49ers are going to get to develop over the rest of this season. All right, everybody, thanks for joining. It's been another Lunch with Lombardi. I'm going to go work on my Tampa Bay scouting report in the context of the 49ers, and I'll talk to everybody soon.